There's a truth so brutal, so raw, that society preferred to bury it under tons of fairy tales. They told you the universe rewards the good, that life is fair, that if you give love, you'll receive love. But look at yourself now, exhausted, broken, wondering why manipulators prosper while you, with all your goodness, keep waiting for your turn. Welcome to the most painful awakening of your life. We're not here to console you with sweet lies. We're here to show you why the world isn't a garden where the dreams of the pure bloom, but a battlefield where the naive are devoured in silence. Since childhood, they programmed you. Be good, share, forgive, trust, help, without expecting anything. And while you followed those sacred rules, others were learning the real rules, the ones nobody mentions out loud. The rules Machiavelli wrote with blood and truth 500 years ago, not because he was evil, but because he was the only one with the courage to say what everyone knew but nobody admitted. The world doesn't reward goodness. It rewards strategy. It doesn't respect purity. It respects power. It doesn't remember saints. It remembers those who knew how to move in the shadows. And you who have given so much, who have forgiven too much, who have patiently waited for justice to arrive. It's time you hear what nobody dared to tell you. The problem was never your goodness. The problem was believing that goodness alone was enough. Machiavelli knew it, and today, if you have the courage to stay, he's going to teach you. Stop for a moment, take a deep breath, and answer with brutal honesty. How many times was your generosity mistaken for weakness? How many times was your silence interpreted as submission? How many times did you give everything and receive crumbs wrapped in excuses? It's not a coincidence. It's the perfect design of the system, a system that needs lambs to feed the wolves. And while you believed you were doing the right thing, someone else was using your nobility as a ladder. Machiavelli saw this pattern centuries ago. Not in one or two cases, but in entire empires that fell from excess virtue without strategy. He observed how kind princes lost their kingdoms, how the generous were betrayed by those they helped the most, how the honest were destroyed for telling truths nobody wanted to hear. And then he wrote, not for the wicked who already knew the game, but for the good who died without understanding it. It's better to be feared than loved. They said it was cruel, but it wasn't cruelty. It was survival. Because love without respect is emotional begging. And respect isn't born from your goodness. It's born from your ability to set boundaries, to say no without trembling, to withdraw without explaining yourself. The sleeping strategist inside you already knows this. That's why you're here. That's why this message found you. It's not coincidence, it's synchronicity. Your soul is tired of being used, tired of giving without measure, tired of waiting for others to play by the same clean rules you respect. It's time to awaken the Machiavelli sleeping within you. Real power doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't pound the table. It subtly tilts the scale. It doesn't need to announce itself because its presence already changed the room's temperature. And this is what separates those who command from those who obey without knowing why. Machiavelli dedicated his life to dissecting this phenomenon, to understanding why some men move crowds with a gesture while others scream without being heard. The answer isn't in strength, it's in perception. Power is a shared illusion. But whoever controls that illusion controls reality. Think about it. Why do you fear the silent boss more than the one who screams? Why do you respect more the one who speaks little but precisely? Why does the mysterious one generate more attraction than the one who shows himself completely? Because the human brain doesn't process reality. It processes symbols. And the most powerful symbol isn't the fist. It's uncertainty, not knowing what you're capable of. That's what paralyzes. Not knowing what you think, that's what intimidates. Not knowing your next move, That's what gives you advantage. The naive show all their cards expecting reciprocity. Strategists keep their aces for the exact moment. And it's not manipulation, it's protection. Because in a world where your information is power, revealing everything is surrendering your kingdom without battle. Machiavelli doesn't ask you to lie. He asks you to consciously choose which truths to share, when and with whom, because invisible power isn't deception. It's the wisdom of knowing that not everyone deserves complete access to your internal world. Listen carefully, because this can save you years of unnecessary suffering. In your life, there are 3 types of emotional predators who feed specifically on poorly protected goodness. And Machiavelli identified them with surgical precision. First, the emotional vampire disguised as a victim. They arrive with sad stories, endless problems, constant crises. They seek you out because they know you can't see suffering without intervening. But observe the pattern. They never improve, never learn, never change. They only drain your energy while you wonder why your advice doesn't work. It doesn't work because they're not looking for solutions. They're looking for infinite emotional supply. Second, the strategic manipulator with a mentor's mask. They present themselves as your savior, the one who sees your potential, the one who's going to teach you. But every lesson comes with a hidden price. Every help creates an invisible debt. Every favor is a chain you don't see until it's too late. They make you feel special, so you lower your guard. They elevate you to control you better from above. Third, the competitor disguised as a friend. They applaud your achievements in public, but minimize them in private. They support you when you're down because there you're not a threat. But they subtly sabotage when you start to shine. They know your weaknesses because you told them, believing in friendship. Machiavelli doesn't tell you everyone is an enemy. He tells you not everyone deserves the title of ally. And the difference between surviving and being devoured is in your ability to distinguish the wolf, even when it comes dressed as a sheep. The most dangerous war isn't fought on battlefields. It's fought in casual conversations, in work meetings, in family dinners. It's the psychological war where words are ammunition and silence is the most lethal weapon. Machiavelli understood that every human interaction is an exchange of power, and whoever doesn't know this already lost before starting. Observe how the masters of power never reveal their true intentions. They smile while calculating, nod while analyzing, stay quiet while everyone else reveals themselves. They've mastered the art of being present without being exposed, of participating without committing, of influencing without seeming to try. And you enter every conversation with an open heart. You share your plans, your fears, your dreams. You give free information that others will convert into advantage. You explain yourself when nobody asked for explanations. You justify yourself to those who don't deserve justifications. The silent war isn't about lying. It's about choosing your battles. It's understanding that not every question deserves an answer. Not every provocation deserves a reaction. Not every attack deserves a counterattack. Sometimes, the most powerful move is not to move. The most eloquent silence is the one that follows a false accusation. The greatest victory is the one you win without others knowing they were competing. Machiavelli teaches you that in this invisible war, whoever speaks first reveals their position. Whoever reacts emotionally loses ground, and whoever doesn't know how to be quiet has already been defeated. Respect isn't something you deserve for being a good person. Respect is an involuntary psychological response toward whoever projects internal solidity. And here's the truth that hurts. You can be the best person in the world, but if you don't know how to project power, you'll be invisible, or worse, you'll be used. Machiavelli studied this phenomenon in the courts. The most virtuous nobles were ignored while the most calculating were feared and respected, not because of the world's evil, but because of primitive programming of the human brain. Our reptilian brain doesn't evaluate goodness. It evaluates threat and opportunity. And when you present yourself as harmless, others' brains categorize you as irrelevant or usable. But when you project that silent power, that presence that doesn't need validation, something changes in the atmosphere. People speak to you differently, treat you differently, respect you without knowing exactly why. It's not your clothes, it's not your money, it's not your title. It's that indefinable energy emanating from someone who has made peace with their own darkness, who doesn't need approval because they've already approved themselves, who doesn't see conflict but doesn't fear it either. Real respect is born when others sense you're not to be played with, not because you're violent, but because you're unpredictable, not because you're cruel, but because you're capable of it if necessary. Not because you don't have a heart, but because your heart is protected by a strategic mind. And that's what Machiavelli wanted you to understand. Respect isn't a gift. It's a psychological conquest. I want you to visualize your life 5 years from now if nothing changes. If you remain the same, giving without limits, trusting without criteria, waiting for the world to be fair. What do you see? I'll tell you what I see. I see someone more tired, more resentful, more broken, surrounded by people who learned that with you, everything is possible, that your no's are negotiable, that your time is public, that your energy is infinite. I see relationships where you give 80 and receive 20, jobs where your effort enriches others while you survive. I see a life where you're the supporting actor in your own story. And the most tragic part, I see someone who blames the world for being unfair, but never blames themselves for not learning the rules of the game. Machiavelli didn't write for princes by chance. He wrote for those who have the power to change their destiny, but don't know how to use it. And you have that power. You've just been giving it away. You give it away every time you say yes out of fear of conflict. Every time you stay in places where you're not valued. Every time you forgive without consequences. Every time you prioritize external peace over your internal war. The price of not awakening isn't just pain, it's the unlived life. It's reaching the end, knowing you were the employee of others' dreams. The extra in the movies of those who did understand the game, the renewable resource of those who did protect their energy. And that price is too high for someone who made it this far. For someone who's already feeling the call to awaken, if you made it this far, it's not coincidence. There are signs, symptoms of awakening that are already occurring in you, even if you haven't named them. First, that growing discomfort with everyday injustices. You can no longer ignore how manipulators prosper, how the fake receive applause, how unscrupulous strategists get what the honest deserved. That contained rage isn't bitterness, it's lucidity being born. Second, the existential fatigue of giving without receiving. Your body can no longer bear the weight of carrying others' problems. Your mind is exhausted from solving crises you didn't create. Your soul is dry from watering gardens where you're never invited to harvest. Third, the suspicion that there are hidden rules you were never taught. You start noticing patterns, how certain people always win without seeming to try, how others navigate conflicts without wearing themselves out, how some have a strange immunity to the drama that destroys you. Fourth, the hunger for power, but not the corrupt power to dominate, but the sacred power of owning your life, of not depending emotionally on anyone, of not begging for love or respect, of walking through the world like someone who knows their value and doesn't need others to confirm it. These signs are the contractions of the birth of your new self. The one being born will no longer be a victim of their own goodness. They'll be a conscious strategist, someone who loves with intelligence, who helps with criteria, who forgives without forgetting the lessons. Machiavelli smiles from the past because another warrior is awakening. Now comes the practical part, the exact protocol to transform yourself without the world noticing until it's too late to stop you. First phase, strategic withdrawal. Gradually disappear from where you're not valued. Don't announce your departure. Don't explain your absence. Simply reduce your availability until your presence becomes occasional and your absence normal. Emotional parasites will notice the change but won't be able to name it. Second phase, relationship audit. Classify everyone in your life into 3 categories. Real allies who have shown loyalty in your worst moments, neutrals who neither add nor subtract, and disguised enemies who smile while sabotaging you. Adjust your energy according to the category. Don't waste gold where they expect copper. Third phase, developing mystery. Stop sharing your plans before executing them, your problems before solving them, your dreams before materializing them. Let your life become a novel where others only see the chapters you choose to show. Fourth phase, building silent power. Every day make a decision you would have consulted before. Set a boundary you would have negotiated before. Say no to something you would have accepted out of guilt before. These micro acts of power will accumulate until they create a presence that doesn't need to announce itself. Fifth phase, selective revelation. When your transformation is undeniable, don't explain it. Let others draw their conclusions. Those who underestimated you will now fear you. Those who used you will now need you. And you'll already be unreachable. Awakening to power has deadly traps that have destroyed many who started this path. Machiavelli knew them because he saw them repeat over and over. First trap, emotional revenge. When you awaken to power, you want to collect every pending debt, punish every person who used you, show everyone how wrong they were. But revenge is a chain that ties you to the past. True power doesn't need revenge. It simply advances and lets others drown in their own mediocrity. Second trap, the extreme pendulum. Going from too good to completely cold. From giving everything to giving nothing. From trusting everyone to trusting no one. Extremes are weakness disguised as strength. Machiavelli taught balance. Be good with strategy, not cruel without purpose. Third trap, premature announcement. Sharing your transformation with those who aren't ready to see it. Talking about Machiavelli with those who only know Disney. Explaining your new philosophy to those who benefited from your previous ignorance. Power isn't announced, it's demonstrated. Fourth trap, poorly managed solitude. At first you'll be alone. Parasites will leave when they find no food. False friends will disappear when you set boundaries. But that void isn't loss. It's space for those who vibrate at your new frequency to arrive. Don't fear the desert. It's the price of the oasis that comes after. Avoid these traps and your transformation will be unstoppable. This is where many get fatally confused. They think being Machiavellian is being cold, heartless calculator, a psychopath with an instruction manual. But that's understanding nothing. Machiavelli didn't eliminate emotions. He mastered them. He didn't destroy empathy. He protected it with intelligence. He didn't become evil. He became impossible to manipulate. The psychopath doesn't feel, the Machiavellian feels, but doesn't drown. The psychopath doesn't love. The Machiavellian loves, but doesn't sacrifice himself. The psychopath destroys for pleasure. The Machiavellian builds with strategy. The difference is intention. The psychopath seeks to dominate because his internal void needs to be filled with external power. The Machiavellian strategist seeks freedom, autonomy, peace. He doesn't want to control everyone. He wants no one to control him. This distinction is crucial because it determines your destiny. If you use these teachings to harm, you'll become what you hate. If you use them to protect yourself and build, you'll become what you admire. Machiavelli loved Florence, had friends, felt deeply, But he understood that in a world of disguised wolves, the conscious sheep needs fangs, not to attack, but so they know it can defend itself. Your transformation isn't toward darkness, it's toward lucidity. You're not becoming evil, you're becoming impossible to use. You're not losing your soul, you're armoring it. And that's the difference between a psychopath the world fears and a strategist the world respects. There's a moment, a precise instant in the life of every person who awakens to power. A moment where everything learned crystallizes into a decision that changes everything. For some, it comes in a betrayal they can't forgive. For others, in an exhaustion they can't keep sustaining. For many, in a humiliation they swear never to allow again. But the moment always has the same anatomy. It's when you say never again, and you mean it. Never again will I be last on my priority list. Never again will I apologize for existing. Never again will I explain my boundaries. Never again will I beg for love, respect, or attention. In that moment, something dies, and something is born. The child who believed being good would make them loved dies. The adult who understands being strategic will make them respected is born. The compulsive savior dies. The architect of their own destiny is born. The one who reacted dies. The one who responds is born. And when that moment arrives, the world feels it. You don't need to announce it. Your energy speaks for you. Your posture changes. Your gaze sharpens. Your presence weighs differently. Those who knew you don't recognize you. Those who used you can't find where to enter. Those who underestimated you now calculate their words. That moment is near for you. I feel it in the vibration of these words, in the fact that you've made it this far, in that part of you that can no longer go back to sleep. When it arrives, don't waste it. Don't retreat out of fear. Don't soften it out of nostalgia. That moment is your portal to the life you deserve, but never dared to take. It's time to give you the weapons, not swords or shields, but psychological tools that masters of power have used for centuries. First weapon, strategic silence. When they provoke you, is count to 10 before responding. In those 10 seconds, they'll reveal more than they intended, and you'll maintain your center. Whoever responds on impulse has already lost. Whoever responds with calculation has already won. Second weapon, calculated ambiguity. Not everyone deserves total clarity about your intentions. Learn to give answers that seem to say a lot without revealing anything. We'll see. That's interesting what you say. I'll keep it in mind. Phrases that maintain your position without committing. Third weapon, tactical retreat. Not every battle deserves to be fought. Sometimes retreating is victory. Let others wear themselves out while you conserve energy. Let them think they won while you play a different game. Fourth weapon, the psychological mirror. Return the energy you receive. To the aggressive, give coldness. To the manipulator, give distance. To the genuine, give openness. Become the mirror that shows everyone their true face. Fifth weapon, gravitational presence. Don't chase, attract. Don't beg, inspire demand. Don't impose yourself. Become inevitable, like a planet that doesn't need to move toward asteroids because its gravity naturally attracts them. These weapons aren't for destroying. They're for building your psychological fortress. Use them with wisdom, and you'll be untouchable. Use them with malice, and you'll be your own executioner. There's something Machiavelli never wrote directly, but it's implicit on every page. Something only true students of power understand. The greatest power isn't what you exercise over others. It's what you exercise over yourself. The most dangerous person in any room isn't the most aggressive. It's the one with total mastery over their impulses. The one who can feel rage without exploding, fear without fleeing, desire without begging, pain without breaking. That self-mastery is what Machiavelli really taught. Not how to control princes and kingdoms, But how to conquer the internal kingdom where you're the only sovereign? Because when you master your emotions, no one can use them against you. When you control your reactions, no one can predict you. When you govern your impulses, no one can manipulate you. And here's the final secret. Everything you learn today isn't to turn you into someone else. It's to reveal who you always were under the layers of conditioning. Under the scared child, there's a warrior waiting. Under the compulsive savior, there's a strategist calculating. Under the victim, there's a survivor who refuses to surrender.